to hand out a little survey to you now. I'm going to have your participation this morning in getting some feedback from you. They're coming from the back and they're handing them out in the chapel as well. So get out a writing utensil. There's 5 questions we're going to do together right now. I'm not going to send you home with these and hope and pray and cross my fingers to bring them home or bring them back next week. We're going to do this together this morning. So pull out your pencils or pens or grab a pencil from the pew back in front of you. Today we start a series entitled The Great Commission. This is a 3-part series, so this will take us through the Sabbath before Thanksgiving. And just as a preparation, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I will anyway. We're going to do a survey or fill out on a piece of paper each single Sabbath for the next 3 Sabbaths. I promise this won't be an ongoing thing. I won't make you do it every Sabbath. But for the next 3 Sabbaths, I'm going to ask for your participation with this. If you have extra surveys, just set them there at the end of the pew or hand them forward. That would be fantastic. I'm going to look through this together with you. This is just some preliminary information on your thoughts. I'll share these details with you next Sabbath. All right, question number 1. I hope you all have this. Question number 1. What is the best definition of evangelism to you? A, public meetings. B, small group. C, giving Bible studies. Or D, befriending your neighbors. Now, obviously, these should all be considered evangelism. But to you, what is your perspective on what evangelism is? Public meetings, small groups, Bible studies, or befriending your neighbors? Number 2, how important is public evangelism to you? How important is public evangelism to you? A, count me in. B, it's important for someone to do. C, I'm not really interested. And D, I wouldn't do it. Count me in, important for someone, I'm not really interested, or I wouldn't do it. Number 3, have you actively participated in public evangelism? Yes or no? Pretty simple there. And that would be on your definition of evangelism. Number 4, how long has it been since you've actively participated in public evangelism? A, 1 to 3 years. B, 4 to 6 years. C, 7 to 9 years. D, more than 10 years ago. How long has it been since you have personally actively participated in public evangelism? And finally, number 5, would you be willing to actively participate in public evangelism in the near future? A, yes. B, if I had a friend with me. Or C, no. Now, pass those surveys back into the center. Our deacons will collect those. I will compile the information over the next week and share these numbers with you next week. As you can tell, we're going to be talking about evangelism for the next couple of weeks. And I'm excited about it. I hope that you are excited as well. We'll give just a second to get all those in, because I know it's exciting when you get to turn papers in like a student. That is just an exciting thing. So we'll give just a second to get all those papers turned in.
Say it again.
I sat in the 5th and 6th grade classroom this last week. I had come in a little early for their PE class. And they were all sitting there trying to catch up. The teacher was catching up with grading. The students were catching up with their assignments. And they had about 10 minutes to go before PE. And so I was able to sit on the floor and just watch the students work. I felt a little bit like a slacker not doing anything. But it was nice to watch these young people concentrating on their homework. Working on their iPads, the 6th graders. Answering those things. Hearing the students helping each other. What was this about? Oh, it was right there on page 25, the bottom of the page. It was fun to see them help each other. And I just got to observe the students doing schoolwork. And I must say, I don't miss it. But kids, it will end someday. Leighton Ford tells this story. I was speaking at an open-air crusade in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Billy Graham was to speak the next night and had arrived a day earlier. He came incognito and sat on the grass at the rear of the crowd. Because he was wearing a hat and dark glasses, no one recognized him. Directly in front of him sat an elderly gentleman who seemed to be listening intently to my presentation. When I invited people to come forward as an open sign of commitment, Billy decided to do a little personal evangelism. He tapped the man on the shoulder and asked, "Would you like to accept Christ? I'll be glad to walk down with you if you want to." The old man looked him up and down, thought it over for a moment, and then said, "Nah, I think I'll just wait for the big guns to show up tomorrow night." Leighton says, Billy and I have had several good chuckles over that incident. Unfortunately, it underlines how, in the minds of many people, evangelism is the task of the big guns, not the little shots. Our children's story pointed that out perfectly this morning. Gabriel was so excited to bring 1,000 million angels and do the work, the big guns. And Jesus says, "No, I want my people to do it." Isn't that beautiful? Jesus wants you and I to do it. Have you ever felt like Leighton in this story? Like this gentleman who said, "Nah, I'll just wait for the big guns to show up." Sometimes we think that we need the big guns to come in to make a difference in our community for Christ. Sometimes this is the mentality that we find ourselves with. God can do anything. But me? He can't use me. I'm just this little garbage man. I'm just this little desk worker. God, what can I do for God? Friends, 1 Corinthians 1:27 says that God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. God chose the lowly things of this world and the despised things and the things that are not to nullify the things that are, so that no one may boast before Him. Amen? Amen. Aren't you glad that God chose to use the foolish things of this earth? I, for one, am glad that God uses the foolish. That means I stand a chance.